This woman lied about being black. Yes, she is a white woman born to white parents, but pretended to identify as black until she finally got caught.
Today, civil rights advocate Rachel Dolezal resigned from the NAACP after it was revealed she is a white woman masquerading as an African American.
Who is she, and how did she get away with this for so long?
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren and I'm Maureen. So how many of you actually know about the Rachel Dolezal saga? So Rachel Dolezal, what do you know about her? This is a white woman who was hiding amongst black folks and she pretended to be black. This was until she was caught. Right, she was enjoying black privileges, and when she was caught, she finally identified as a transracial. Have you ever heard of such a term called transracial? Only in America. So let's watch this clip and then we come back and talk about it.
Welcome to my deep dive. That is the hot mess that is Rachel Dolezal. I'm going to take you from the beginning to all the current updates. I'd like to note that it's March 1st and I waited until Black History Month was over to do this deep dive because her name was already mentioned way too many times because of something she did recently in February, but we'll get to that. This is Rachel Dolezal. She was born to her parents Ruth Ann and Lawrence in Montana, and they also adopted several black children with whom Rachel was raised. This is a picture of Rachel's biological parents who told on her. Anywho, Rachel, who was born white, claims that from a very young age, she was not using the peach-colored crayons to draw herself, that she was using a darker crayon because she identified as African American. Anyway, when it came time for college, Rachel's parents said that she intentionally chose colleges that had a big emphasis on race. So first off, she went to Belhaven College in Mississippi to be a part of a racial reconciliation community development project. Then she went on to go to one of the best historically black colleges. She got a scholarship there, Howard University in Washington, D.C. Now, at this point, Rachel hasn't really changed her appearance, but she would go on to try to sue the school. So this suit was 14 years later, where she said that she was denied a teaching position because of her race. And she also claimed in this suit that her artwork was removed from an exhibition to favor black students' artwork. She doubled down on this. She said, the reason my full tuition scholarship being removed and my teaching position as well, my TA position, were that other people needed opportunities and you probably have white relatives that can afford to help you with your tuition. And I thought that was an injustice. Anyway, the appeals court at the school said she did not follow the normal application process for obtaining a scholarship in her second year. She was in fact awarded a scholarship in September 2001 for the entire year. And in regards to the teaching position following graduation, she did not apply for an advertised position. Rather, she dropped off her resume and a cover letter. Anyway, this didn't go through. Rachel's adopted siblings started noticing a change in Rachel's appearance, and she made it clear to them that she did not want people knowing about her past. She took her sibling aside and was like, don't blow my cover. Her brother Zachariah said that the changes started coming about with changes in her hair, and then she started having more tan skin. Rachel's doing all this activism work. She's cosplaying a black woman, and at this point, she has become the chapter president of the NAACP in Spokane, Washington. And she even brought an older black gentleman to her swearing-in ceremony and referred to him as her father to everyone there. She went on to justify this decision by saying, Albert Wilkinson is my dad. Any man can be a father. Not every man can be a dad. So by now, Rachel is in Spokane, Washington, fully in her activism era, running the NAACP, has told her adoptive siblings who are actually black not to tell on her, and has started cosplaying a black woman and running an organization that, should be run by an actual black woman. But this all came crashing down when Rachel's very white parents told on her. In 2015, Rachel's parents did the right thing, went to a local paper, and they were like, listen, Rachel's not genetically black. She's our daughter by birth, and that's the way it is. Anyway, Rachel doubled down and said that she wasn't even sure if these two were biologically her parents. And if you remember from my last video, there was a man named Albert Wilkinson that she brought to her swearing-in ceremony for the NAACP and said that he was her father. You can even see it here in this post where she says, LR, me, my oldest son Isaiah, and my dad. So Rachel goes on an interview with NBC Nightly News and she's like, I haven't done a DNA test and I don't know or can't prove that Ruth Ann and Larry are my biological parents. She said, I'm not necessarily saying that I can prove that they're not, but I don't know that they can actually prove that they are, she continued. I mean, the birth certificate was issued a month and a half later after I was born. Certainly there were no medical witnesses to my birth. It was in the woods. Anyway, her whole entire family was like literally everyone was there for your birth, including your grandparents. You are our biological child. Her dad was like, listen, let's do a DNA test then, Rachel, let's do it. Anyway, at this point, she was then outed by an investigative journalist who saw that she, reported another hate crime. And this had happened with Rachel many times in the past, but the claims were never substantiated. And there hadn't been a string of hate crimes until she showed up in that area. And basically, that investigative journalist looking into these alleged hate crimes was how he found her parents, and this all blew up in her face. Anyway, in part 3, we'll get into more of what's been going on recently after this fallout, a name change, and a bunch of other stuff, including OF. Welcome to part 3 of my deep dive on the hot mess that is Rachel Dolezal. Okay, so by this point, Rachel Dolezal had to step down from her station at the NAACP. She was also the subject of an investigation under the City Ethics Commission because she lied about her race on an application to join the police oversight board. She said that she was white, black, and Native American. At this point, Rachel is out of a job and, her name is very, very well known. So she decides to, in 2016, change her name to Kenji Diallo. So at this point, Rachel's out of her teaching job as well, and she's strapped for cash, and she's doubling down on the fact that she identifies as a black woman. The Today Show, Rachel was like, I identify culturally as black, but racially as human. What does that even mean? Said if people feel misled or deceived, then sorry that they feel that way, but I believe that's more due to their definition and construct of race in their own minds than it is to my integrity or honesty, because I wouldn't say I'm African American, but I would say I'm black, and there's a difference in those terms. What? At this point, she starts thinking about writing a book, and she's styling black hair to make money on the side. So Rachel said her only offers at this point were to be on reality TV or corn. She was using food stamps to feed her kids. Her friend was helping her with rent, and she was expected to be homeless within a month. So then 2 years later, Rachel writes this book, and she struggled to find a publisher. And she also welcomed a new son that year, so she was just trying to make money for her kids. She even moved to Tucson, Arizona, and still struggled to find work because of, what she had done in her reputation. She ended up being charged with 2 felonies because of this book, because she failed to report tens of thousands of dollars that came in because of it. She could collect nearly $9,000 in child support and food assistance from the government. Anyway, she deposited around $84,000 in 2 years into her accounts, and her lawyer said that he didn't think she really meant to defraud anyone, but she then had to deal with those charges. And most recently, she got a teaching job in Tucson, Arizona, and was fired when administrators learned of her OnlyFans account. Anyway, her OF is $9.99 a month, and she puts up risque photos. Anyway, I think maybe she could have a job again if she didn't continue to double down on this, but she's just sticking with it. Something tells me we'll hear from her again because she pops up in the news every few years, but I hope you enjoyed this deep dive.
So guys, that's just a little history about Rachel Dolezal, and for you to see that this is crazy and was planned. It's not that she was, she identified as a transracial. If you ask me my opinion, I think she only identified as a transracial because she was gaining as a black woman. She was getting the benefits. Yes, she couldn't get ahead in life as her own race, so she decided to guise herself as a black woman in order to get ahead. And personally, I feel the same and I feel like she was taking opportunities from people who really, really, truly deserved them, because she was completely she was a what amongst us. She was an imposter amongst us, So let's watch how she finally defended herself when she was outside as a white woman, very, very white, blonde hair, blue eyes and all, and her parents are the ones who exposed her. Your parents are the ones who are ratting you out. It's probably because you disowned them first, and they know they're your parents. So guys, we'll leave it at that. I'm sure by now you get the point. Yes. So you guys just leave us a comment on what you think about this whole Rachel topic. But I feel like the women from The Real, they were really baiting this Rachel Dolezal, and she fell. She didn't see the bait coming. They had her confess that and admit that she is a white woman. It's not that she didn't know. She was just trying to pretend like that she's always been black, not strongly identifies she is a black woman. And this is because she knew she could get certain benefits trying to act as a biracial. This is someone who took a black man to her graduation party and pretended pretended that that black man was her father. So if that was not ulterior motives and the funny deceive people, right? The funny part is that her own white parents came out and say, you know, for your parents to come out and, you know, just crumble your whole life and stories that you because built. I even heard when they came out with the story that she is their daughter, she disowned them and she said that she didn't know who those people are. She even demanded for a DNA test to be done. Also, she could support her life that she is a black woman.